right, it is 6:30 and it is May 19th, 2025. We'll call our committee of the whole meeting to order, and I'd like to invite Pat Callahan and Adam from OAK up. We'll go ahead and get started. We've got a presentation on the library, and there's two components to this, commissioners. There is a PowerPoint that you were sent earlier today, and then a video drone footage that I don't believe was in that packet. So I'm excited about that, about a minute little video there. So Mr. Callahan, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here. It is exciting to finally be out of the ground, or at least becoming a little more vertical. So we're going to run through just a little bit of kind of where we started, where we are. This is a little bit of an agenda, but I'm going to go quickly because I know we have a time limit here, and I want to make sure we respect your the rest of your activities this evening.
Oh, thank you.
So Adam is represented from OAK. He is one of the project executives and has been instrumental really in getting the whole project started and organized. So I really want to thank him for his early participation in the process. So I'm just going to talk briefly. So the steering committee, just to refresh your memory, was Mayor Carey, Daryl, Jennifer DeVault from KDL, Gary Postema, and Scott Connors. There were a few alternates in there as well, but as I look back today, we started our first design meeting in June of 23. So sometimes it takes a while to get good ideas on paper, and then you'll be able to start seeing the great things once the contractors are able to start making the building a little more vertical. So very quickly, with the design process, we kind of started with our charter statement, which, you know, again, is really important to the committee to serve as kind of a baseline for our work together. And I think this really reflects kind of where the design ended and what you'll start to begin to see as the construction continues out on the property. But a couple of big words on the bottom that were really important, because the existing library had a lot of natural light, and that was one element that they wanted to maintain. Flexibility, and while community may be a small word in terms of this wordle that we did, it was very important for all elements and aspects of the building to ensure that it had a very strong civic and community component. From that, we started our kind of planning diagrams to make sure that all of the required spaces fit. Those quickly blossomed into some library massing studies, which are starting to look on this photograph a little more of what the final version of the library will be. These were some early studies. And then we started working with some interior planning to ensure we had not only the right spaces, but we had the right amount of space for the activities to happen. So you can see in here, you started seeing some ground floor plans. And then we have our ground floor of the new building. That was the ground floor of the original footprint of the library. And then the upper floor of the new building. And then started to look at the spaces kind of three-dimensionally. You know, this is actually the community space, and one of the important aspects of this in many of the libraries that we toured was that the library itself had a lot of community space, but you didn't know it when you walked in the library. And what we wanted to do was make sure that the community knew this was a space for them. It was an assembly space. So this is actually two rooms that are fully opened. So you can take this large room, make it one large room, make it open to the hallway. You can turn it into two smaller rooms so you can have multiple activities happening simultaneously. With a little bit of design flair in terms of color and texture and some acoustical treatments. So just to give you a feel for the kind of stylizing of the interior you'll see. And then the other element that was talked about at length was kind of the corner beacon, you know, wanting to have something off of Remembrance Road that was very visible. It wasn't a brick wall, but had the ability to see kind of what's happening from what's happening inside the library. So the two-story stair that goes up to the upper level of the new building on the north does provide kind of a nice view. Also a great opportunity for vertical displays, holiday displays. Could be what we talk about was a dinosaur display. We had one library that we had a two-story stair, and they actually had a museum come in and construct a two-story dinosaur, which was a rotating exhibit. So we're giving you a lot of flexibility. So there you go. And then just some what we'll call people spaces, recognizing that while books are important and having all of the elements of the library, we wanted to ensure that folks had a place to go, whether that was quiet study rooms or just casual spaces within the library to kind of sit down, grab a book, or sit down and have a conversation with a friend. And then up on the upper level, we give the committee all the credit for this, having an outdoor deck that provides for this kind of indoor-outdoor experience, along with an indoor-outdoor fireplace. It's sealed on both sides, but indoor-outdoor in terms of opportunities to have even early spring or late fall for folks who want to just go in the library, go outside and read a book. We did this on a library in Geneva, Illinois, and there are people out there in the, I would say right around Thanksgiving with their coats on because they just enjoy it so much. And this is and does provide a nice exposure to the sun. So on a warm day, wear a dark black coat and you should be okay out there for a little while. And then obviously once we finished all that great design work, we started focusing on construction drawings and bidding. And from there, making decisions on colors, color palettes, carpeting, furniture, etc. While we haven't finished the furniture component, this is what we call the mood board, or the start of the palette for the library itself, which includes the built-in items as well as the items that we're looking at as part of the fixtures, furnishings, and equipment package. So, one minute here.
Wait for it.
There
Wait
you
for it. There.
So what we are working on right now is the furniture package. I think we have our third meeting coming up this Thursday. And that is the focus on ensuring that we have enough room for what we'll call the volumes or collection. So that includes shelving and the like, but also to make sure that each of the spaces that we've created has the right furniture, the right color furniture, the right amount of furniture, the right type of seating, etc. And that work is going on with the committee and the folks from KDL currently. And then again, we started, this is an interesting part of the process, is on the left-hand side, I don't want you to read that obviously, but that is the start of when we count the collection that KDL had, and more importantly for you, because the library was so small, the projected collection that we want to have to ensure that we have great library resources here in Walker. That portion of it is directly tied to all the shelving you see in the plan, so we can be assured that we're mapping the appropriate number of shelves to the collection projections that KDL is working with the city. And then we're still working through some potential branding. The history wall we had some discussions about with the steering committee, and then the donor wall and what that will look like. So the FF, what we call the fixtures, furnishings, and equipment package, kind of ties in these elements with the furniture. So there is one more kind of bid rollout that will ultimately result in kind of a final completion of the library itself. Just a little look at what some of the images are of the history wall, which is kind of in that back hallway on the back side of the meeting room. So it would be the primary access to the meeting rooms when the doors are in the closed position. And then working with a couple of local vendors and coming up with some additional options on signage for donors, which has been kind of a fun process, frankly.
Remind us to change the batteries in the clicker.
I don't know if it's the clicker, because it seems
Okay.
like the PowerPoint presentation is a little large.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Adam to talk a little bit about the construction side of the project.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Pat. And thank you to the commission for having us here to talk to you tonight and share some updates on a project that we're really excited about. So first and foremost, sharing who are some of the people that you're seeing more often than not. So Bob Byrne is our project manager. Bob handles most of the paperwork, kind of making sure all the documentation's in place and overseeing the project. Gabe Bauman, who you would probably see more than anybody, is here on site every day. He's our site superintendent. He's the one that ensures quality, ensures contractors are here on time, and we're sticking to the schedule. And then me, I'm Adam Tweedy. I worked on the front end and kind of worked through a lot of the budgeting and scheduling early on to ensure that we kind of got out of the ground and got things moving. Next, to talk about some of our progress and really some metrics that we looked at just to kind of share some of the successes we've had. So initial project budget, our current projected budget of approximately $23.3 million, and that is against a preliminary budget of about $25 million. So we did really well on our bid days. We got a lot of bids. We got over 124 bids across 30 bid categories. And what that means is when we slice up projects into little, manageable chunks, we had over 30 of those packages, and we had over 4 bidders in each one of those categories, which really shows a lot of interest from the local subcontractor community, and we can really say leads to those kind of lower costs and doing better than our preliminary budgets. And I would attribute a lot of that to a lot of people wanted to work with the city. It's a very attractive project. This is kind of a landmark project for the community, so we had a lot of great participation on our bid packages. So we've got multiple local bidders. We currently have 2 local companies that were awarded large contracts, and they're making up approximately 10% of the construction contracts. So that was good. That was something that we wanted to be intentional about, and the city and KDL were both intentional about asking us to make sure we ensured local participation. Schedule updates. So foundations completing this spring. I think we're pretty much there. We've got the majority of those foundations poured. We've got a video to show you here of some of those final foundations being poured just last week. Masonry walls and structural steel are starting late spring and into early summer. As you can see, there's already some shear walls going up outside. So you'll continue to see some of those. You'll see some shaft walls come out of the ground, some concrete block walls. And then as soon as we get the steel up for that first floor, that basement level, the steel floor will be able to backfill those holes and start going kind of fully vertical. We're planning on having the building fully enclosed this winter. So winter of 25, the building will be enclosed. And then we are completed and open for guests August of 2026. So we continue to make good progress. We're happy about the work we've gotten done so far. And I would say thanks to the steering committee and everybody involved, we've been able to keep moving. Now I think I'm going to hand it over to Daryl, who's going to do some wrap-up work.
Yeah, I guess maybe if there's any questions for Pat or Adam in the meantime, but my wrap-up comments are it's just been a great progress. The team has been awesome. We do weekly and bi-weekly meetings with not only their team, but the other architects, the subcontractors, and it's super helpful because things come up or Gabe brings us something and our staff is there and we can respond to stuff right away. Like I think today we were finding a utility line out here by the where the new driveway is going to go in, and we have our vac truck, so it saved a lot of work. We could use our vac truck to find the line instead of them hiring somebody to come in and do that. So coordination's been great. They've been good on keeping the site clean and letting us get through, and they're going to accommodate the parade this next Monday. So after that's done, you're going to see a lot more changes out here with the driveways and stuff like that as we go forward. But communication's been great. The team's been awesome, and you can see we're trending under budget and on time. So that's always a good thing when you're talking construction. So we hope that continues. But now that we're out of the ground and a lot of the excavation is done, a lot of the mysteries that you a lot of times run into underground, we didn't really have too many of those. I think we had some water in the hole a few times with some heavy rains, but that was able to be pumped out. So I think the drone really shows a good picture of what's out there from the sky, because you can only see so much from the fence. So be happy to answer any questions from the staff point of view, or these guys are more than happy to jump in as well.
I do have one thing before I turn over to the commissioners. There was a one of the slides had the green box down at the bottom. We don't have to go back to it, and it talked about the local vendors, and we've been very deliberate, and that's probably where I stick I insert myself a little bit in the process, otherwise it's been very hands-off, because the team's kept us up to date. I can let the commissioners know what's going on, but we've been very deliberate about trying the local. You know, we had a number of our big employers in Walker that could have bid on this, elected not to bid on it, because they're so busy as well, and they have bandwidth challenges in that. So it's been great from that perspective, but I wanted to give the team a shout out. They've been very deliberate and very willing to work with us on trying to get that local, because we're an income tax city. Those jobs are helping pay for this, amongst other things, and we felt that was really important. So that was, in case that was a question anybody had come up, they've been very deliberate as a team with the city staff of working through that. So commissioners, anything? Commissioner Burke, DeShane?
I'm very happy that I keep hearing we are trending under budget. That's a very good thing. Keep that going.
And on time.
And on time, yes. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Chase, anything? Commissioner, Madam Clerk, anything? City managers, anything else?
Probably get to rolling the bid unless Frank, or rolling the drone video.
Okay, let's roll it.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
That high definition off the drone is something else, isn't it?
Oh, I love it. Look how green everything is.
Yeah, our PD flew a drone over when it was during demolition, so it's kind of interesting to see the demolition shots and then now the construction taking place. But interesting to see all the stuff that's going on inside the hole there, because all you see from the fence is the outside walls, and it's amazing to see the rooms taking shape and the elevator shaft getting ready to come out of the ground. And the other thing amazing, as I watch it outside my window every day, it's like the excavators that are over there, just the phenomenal way of how they worked that site to get where they were and how they had to back out of everything and they were pouring walls while they were still excavating the other half of the hole. So it's pretty interesting. So it's really cool to see it almost come together here on the foundation. So.
Well, I think that basement too is just something that I don't want to take for granted. The old library did not have one, so we learned this past week. We're painfully reminded of the impact of weather in this community, especially this time of year, and to be able to not only our staff but the general public too, if they happen to be in the building, they have a place to, in the event of emergency shelter, that we can accommodate that now. We couldn't do that before, and that's a pretty painful thing to even think about. So. I love seeing how big that basement looks. So it'll be a working basement nonetheless. But anything else, gentlemen? Commissioners, anything else? We have the Brain Trust here. Awesome job. We keep hearing the under budget, but we're on time. I mean, we're doing well. So thank you for the work. And Gabe, our site supervisor out there, is doing an outstanding job in really filling that role. So. Thank you, and unless you want to stay and join us the rest of the meeting, you're welcome to do that. So you can navigate through the packed hallway out there. All right, thank you guys. Yeah. I'll invite our city treasurer up to the mic. We didn't think we'd have this time, and we are doing good. So thanks again, Pat. Thanks, Adam. We have tonight a resolution for the fiscal 24-25 budget amendments. We do not have a presentation for this, kind of pretty cut and dry. But Dana, if you want to call out any of those highlights from that presentation, and commissioners, you have that document put in front of you. It was on all of our chairs when you came in here. The floor is yours.
Okay, thanks. So again, these are amendments for the current fiscal year. We go through that usually once, maybe twice a year. So this is our one time this year. So trying to do some of the high level stuff here to go through quickly. Kind of the general fund is the first 3 pages of the document. And a couple things to point out. We're going to propose an increase for our income with what we've had the last couple of years. So we had budgeted 15 million. We're going to request a budget amendment up to 16. We've reached that number easily the last 2 years, so that's I feel is a good number. You'll notice on the expenditure area through the general fund, which would have been the bottom of page 1 through 2 and 3, there you'll see some different areas about wage adjustments. Those are, a lot of them are merit increases. Historically, we have put money in as set aside, shall we say, each year in one account in the general fund for those types of adjustments. And so the amendments are basically taking it out of that one particular line item, which is on page 2, and adjusting it into the proper spots throughout the general fund budget. So you'll see that's mainly when you see a salary or wage adjustment, that's what those are. We've also had some various legal fee expenditure line increases just based on what actually is happening with us from the legal fee perspective. So that's getting us up to where we need to be. Then a couple of bigger ones I wanted to just point out without necessarily pointing to the document right away because they show up in different spots. But during the fiscal year, we had an OPEB settlement with 21 non-union employees, which basically is going to, we bought them out, and it's basically going to reduce the long-term liability that we have for retiree health care for those 21 employees. We had the total cost of that was about 1.3 million. We have a fund, which is a set-aside fund, which is our fund number 140, that had 885,000 roughly that we had accumulated over years. So we've taken that money, we've closed out Fund 140, put it into the general fund to help pay for that expense. So that shows up a couple different spots within the document, but that's one I wanted to make sure to point out. So that was a good one. That set-aside amount ended up being about 67% of the total obligation, so that was a good thing to. So those set-asides do work, right? Yeah.
Yep.
We had initially in our budget, we had put money in there that we were going to pay for the library building design costs from the general fund, not from the bond. That was our initial intent. However, after we sold the bond and talked to the attorney, due to some timing concerns that she had, meaning we need to spend down a certain percentage of that bond within a certain number of days, or months, we should say, she suggested strongly that we pay for those design costs out of the bond proceeds. So there is actually a transfer that takes care of that in here. So that's in there also. The other one I wanted to point out was the American Rescue Plan Act, the old ARPA that we've talked about over the years. That's Fund 285. Just as a quick refresher, we received $2.6 million in ARPA funds back in September of 21, and then the rest in June of 22. We had originally obligated that money towards 3 different projects. One was for the physical security systems for all buildings, so this thing here. For a police command vehicle and for a fire ladder truck, a new fire ladder truck that we ordered in April of 2023. So the physical security system and the command vehicle have been completed, paid for, we're all good on that. The fire truck, again, we ordered that in April of 2023 to be delivered in August of 2025. Since that time, we've had 2 delays that we've been notified of. So right now, it's looking to be July of 2026 that we would receive that vehicle. And then based on the criteria for ARPA as to when you have to spend down your cash, which is December 31 of 2026, we were concerned that if we had one more delay, we would miss that deadline, and then we'd have to send that money back, and that was about $1.5 million.
And that we have to have delivery by
We
the
have
end
to
of
have it,
2020. So that's
yeah.
the other important piece.
Correct. Yes, exactly. So we instead shifted or re-obligated the money we had obligated for the truck. We instead obligated that to a road project, which was the North Walker Street project. So from 4 Mile down to Northridge Drive, that improvement that we did. we re-obligated the money to that because that did qualify as an an eligible obligation. And so that got us to spend the ARPA money in time. So we're good there. We're gonna close out the ARPA fund because everything's been spent and put towards that project now. At the same time, we then took money from the general fund, put it to the capital equipment fund to pay for the truck when it does show up, which we hope is sometime sooner rather than later, but who knows the way things are going. So, so that one transaction there touches 4 different funds within what you're seeing. So it gets confusing to try to point it all out on this, but it's all accounted for in there. So, the other thing I would point out is on the Major Street Fund, which is on page 4 of the document, you'll see the money that we received from MEDC for the Fruit Ridge Bridge, the 25 million. You'll see a revenue of that at the top of the page, and then you'll see an expenditure below of the exact amount. So it's a net zero to our fund balance, but that's just showing the money going in and out and having a budget amendment on there to show that we're in compliance with that. So that's what it is. And then also on that page, you will see a couple of the projects that we have done, the road projects, that look like they have big change amounts on them. So if you're on page 4 under the expenditure area, the 2nd and 4th line down, the Bristol and Panel Railroad Bridge and the Kinney Avenue reconstruction, the budget isn't so different. It's just that we had budgeted for that project in last fiscal year, and because of timing and such, the actual work actually happened in this year. So we're just moving the budget into the appropriate year is all. It's not like we're adding additional to it. It's just a timing issue. We also had that same problem, problem if you want to call it that, with the DDA fund, which is on the bottom of that page. We did the lighting district adjustments there. Same thing, we'd really budgeted in the prior fiscal year. We're adjusting it to this year because that's what actually happened. And then the last thing I will say, just on a real high level, is that the library construction fund, that is on page 6. That is at the bottom of page 6. And so basically this is the fund that the bond proceeds came into, and all the construction related costs will be expensed into this fund. We had a 0 budget for that at this time last year because we didn't really have any good sense of what numbers to put in there. So now we do, and so we're putting some budget numbers in there to be in compliance so that when the audit comes around, they're happy with that. So
Yes.
those are real high level. I know it's about 7 now. I can answer any questions you want. I can just hang around and we can come back to it when you want. It's really your call at this point. So
Commissioners, any questions? And again, we can continue this into the 7 o'clock shortly. Any questions? Commissioner Brick, Commissioner DeShane? Chase, Groders?
yeah, I guess the one thing I neglected to say is these amendments did go through the Finance Committee a couple weeks ago, and so they are recommended by the Finance
Yeah,
Committee.
thank you.
I should have said that right off the bat, so sorry. Go ahead.
And city managers, anything?
No, just kind of on that note that Dan took the assumption these were going to get approved, so the budget you'll see at the next meeting for next year takes these into account that they will be approved, so.
Which is why we go through the finance committee.
Exactly.
So, one of the things, Dan, I don't think you get enough credit is that I've appreciated with you the decades I've been around up here and your consistency with keeping us in a very risk-averse position, number one, but number two, taking advantage of making our money, put it into work for us. We're able to, and you'll see the interest, commissioners, if it's not blatantly obvious, the interest on investments, a couple areas there, it's a job. I mean, it's a pretty well done, so.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate you just being smart, and I know that our city managers share the same mentality, but you're the one ultimately when it comes down that tells yes, no, this is what we're doing, and so appreciate that.
And it helped that we had 25 million for about 6
Yeah.
or 7 months to invest,
real
and some
nice-
ARPA money.
So the real nice thing on that is that we did earn over $1 million of interest, and it doesn't have to follow the principal. So that's money available
Yeah.
now to us to use for other major street projects if we so choose.
Yeah.
So,
It doesn't matter how, it just matters that it happens, so it's a good thing, so,
yeah.
awesome. All right, well, thank you much, Dan. Get out of here for the night and enjoy. We'll be good later on.
You
so.
sure?
Yep.
Okay, 'cause I can
Yep.
hang
Thanks,
around.
Dan.
Yep.
Okay, all right,
Thank
very
you
good.
much.
Thank you. All right.
Welcome, everyone. Please don't lose that vibrancy we just heard out in the hall here. We're not in church, so I see some kids out there and stuff. It's all good. All right. Captain Veen, is that everyone out in the hall? Okay. Madam Clerk, we're good? Okay, 7:01. All right, it is 7:01, Monday, May 19th, 2025. This is the Walker City Commission regular commission meeting. Welcome, everyone. I love hearing all the voices and feeling the energy in the room. If we have standard practice here at the City of Walker, we have an invocation, a pledge of allegiance, and we'd ask the invocation. Please feel free to join us for that. I actually have the privilege of doing invocation this evening, and if not, just observe a moment of silence with us, please. If you'd please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we come to you with gratitude for the opportunity to serve our community together. May we approach tonight's work with wisdom, humility, and a spirit of collaboration, always mindful of the trust placed in us by those we represent. We give thanks for the dedication of those who protect and serve, and we offer our heartfelt prayers for our two officers as they officially have their badges pinned this evening, as well as those being promoted. May their service be marked by integrity, courage, and compassion. Please bless our meeting, all those in attendance here this evening, and guide our decisions for the good of all. We pray this in your great name. Amen. I'd like to invite everybody to stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Who were those little kids that I heard that all the way up here? There you go. Nice job. Awesome. Obviously, you're Corporal Bendis' son, so that I should know that one. All right. Well, welcome, everyone. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Carey,
Present.
Commissioner Babcock,
Present.
Commissioner Groders,
Present.
Commissioner Chase, Commissioner DeShane,
Present.
Commissioner Burke.
Present. And I will entertain a motion to excuse the absence of Commissioner Gilbert this evening.
Motion to excuse Commissioner Gilbert.
Support.
Burke, supported by Commissioner DeShane. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Approval of minutes. Any questions on the May 12th, 2025 City Commission meeting minutes? Seeing, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
So moved.
Support.
Commissioner Babcock, Commissioner Chase. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, minutes passed. Awesome. Chief, you have the floor.
Once again, thank you guys for giving us this opportunity to do our badge pinning. So, to start, the pinning of the badge will be a career highlight as you continue through this process of this noble profession. At this time, please raise your right hand for the oath of office. As a Walker police officer, you are to act as the official representative of our city and required and trusted to work within the law. Your powers and duties as a police officer are granted upon you by the state of Michigan. Your fundamental duties include serving the community, protecting the innocent, keeping the peace, and ensuring the right of all. The expectations are that you shall perform your duties impartially, without regard to status, sex, race, political belief, or aspiration. All citizens and officers alike will be treated equally with courtesy, consideration, and dignity. Do you swear to perform these duties? Congratulations. At this time, we'll do the pinning of Officer Sidney Roan. For those who want to take pictures, if you want good pictures, you are welcome to slide up to the front. Around.
Family and friends, you're welcome to come up here in the front as well. We don't bite up here really, so get yourself in a good spot, please.
All right. So Officer Sydney Roan was hired on January 23rd, 2025, and just finishing her field training. Sydney is a graduate of Saranac High School and then went off to Spring Arbor University, where she was a member of the women's golf team. In October 2017, she went to Grand Rapids Community College Police Academy, where she graduated and was immediately hired by Portage Police Department, where she worked for almost 6 years before taking a break with her daughters. Sydney brings a lot of experience with her. While at Portage, she held several positions, such as uniformed narcotics team, crime scene tech, field training officer, and a community policing officer. At this time, her husband Justin and the daughters would do the pinning of the badge.
I heard plural. Where's the other one? There we go. All right. Perfect. Don't let Officer Roan get too far. We have our tradition in a minute, so.
Officer Tyler Petty and family, whoever's coming. So Officer Tyler Petty is a local kid who grew up here in the south end of Walker, attended Granville High School. While at Granville, he also was enrolled in the criminal justice training program at the Kent Career Technical Center. Tyler ended up working for the Kent County Sheriff's Office after school as a cadet before coming to the city of Walker in July of 2024. We're very fortunate to be able to hire Tyler away from the Kent County Sheriff's Department as a cadet and also as a paid recruit at the Grand Rapids Community College Police Academy. Tyler is our 5th paid recruit position that we've put through the university. Tyler graduated from the police academy last month and is currently in field training. And at this time, his mother, Amy, will be doing the pinning of the badge. Congratulations.
So before Officer Petty walks away, and I'll ask the same Officer Roan just a moment. Officer Petty, if you would, you come up to the mic, just let us know who of your family and friends you have here tonight, if you wouldn't mind introducing them so we can tell them thank you.
Yeah, no, I have both my mom and dad here, Mike and then Amy. My 2 sisters, Cindy and Riley, who are sitting in the back next to my mom. I have all my friends here. They all work in different departments. We have Chase McGinnis, who works here as well. I have my girlfriend here, Amanda, and all my biggest supporters that I'm super appreciative.
You recognize your mom and your girlfriend. That's the most important things there, so we got that right. So good job. Well, welcome. Thank you all for being so supportive of Tyler, and we appreciate you being here. And then Officer Petty, so as soon as Officer Roan is done, we'll have you make the walk up here to shake hands in just a minute. So Officer Roan will give you the mic if you'll share who you have here.
Hello.
Hi.
I have my parents, Dee and Lloyd, along with my sister Madeline, and my in-laws, Lincoln and Allison Roan, and then my husband and my 2 daughters, Bexley and Brooks.
Outstanding. Well, thank you all for your support of Officer Roan as well as she begins her career with Walker here. So, and you can bring your guest with you. If you want to come up around the side here, we'd love to shake your hands and wish you well. So.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. Next, we have some promotions to discuss.
Yes.
So Officer Petty and Roan, you've had a chance to grab a seat for a second, and
Yeah, so tonight is extra special when we can recognize the officers, especially with those with numerous years of experience in the profession, as they are promoted to corporal and sergeant. With the promotion comes a lot of extra responsibilities, and they have stepped up in these roles for the department and the city. So first, we will recognize Kurt Bendis. So Corporal Kurt Bendis attended Grand Rapids Community College Police Academy after he transferred from Western Michigan University. I'm sorry, Kalamazoo Community College. It's down south. So Kurt started his career at Fruitport Police Department and then went on to the Ionia County Sheriff's Office before coming to Walker in October of 2019. Kurt is a member of the SRT team. He's also a crash reconstructionist and a member of the drone team. In 2023, Kurt joined the firearms instructor team due to his love of firearms and maybe a little bit because of his love of firearms and marksmanship. Maybe. Kurt was promoted to corporal in January of this year and is working the night shift with Sergeant Ritzenheim. It is our pleasure to have his wife, Nicole, pin his corporal badge.
all right, congratulations. Corporal? Who all do you have here?
What's that?
Who all do you have with you tonight?
So I have little Piper here, Rowan. I have Jean and Brent, who are my in-laws.
And in.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your continued support of Wells, Kurt. So
Thank you very much.
thank you.
And now I'll recognize Sergeant Steve Ritzenheim. All right, another one of those local kids. Attended Kennewill Hills High School. Also went to KCTC in the criminal justice program while I was there. He is one of our first true high school internships for the city of Walker. And probably the one who had to do two, right? Yeah. So, he didn't pass the first one. So, after high school, he attended Grand Rapids Community College Police Academy. And again, like I said, he did a second internship with us because he liked us so much. He started his career, though, however, with Sparta Police Department and then moved north a little bit to the Rockford Department of Public Safety because he wanted to become a firefighter. However, he always wanted to come back to the city of Walker and was hired in November 2014. Throughout the years, he has held numerous positions from detective, field training officer, crash reconstructionist, honor guard, SRT member, drone team, and also a current firefighter. We'd also like to give a shout out to his father, Tony, who was a Walker firefighter. So it runs in the family. Sergeant Ritzenheim was promoted to corporal in June of 2022 and now has taken the rank of sergeant in January of this year, working the night shift. It's now our pleasure to have his wife Danielle and son Maddox do the pinning of his badge.
There you go. Well done. Congratulations. Sergeant, if you let us know all, I think we know some of the family there.
Yep, so my mother and father, Tony and Lori, my in-laws, Mike and Tracy, my wife Danielle, and our two sons, Maddox and Cooper.
Outstanding, thank you. Well, if you'd grab your corporal as well, we'd love to shake your hand. Mr. Ritzenhein, we don't get much chance to see you around here, so the other Mr. Ritzenhein. Thank you for all your service. It's a long time you're with us, so thank you. All right, to all the family members again and friends, thank you for support of our officers, our command staff, and they could not do without your support. So we appreciate all that you have invested in them. Chief, do you see anything else?
Nope, we just want to thank you for this. It's a very special time for us.
It is. So folks, we have a riveting evening. We're talking about budget amendments, charitable gaming licenses. You're welcome to stay, but you won't hurt our feelings if you decide to leave as well. So enjoy the evening. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Yep. Commissioners, if it would give, please, you will give a minute or two here and allow the room to clear. Yeah, that's the gaming license. Yeah. Is that? That's awesome. And then Colleen, that's okay. Good. Just want to make sure. Awesome. I'll check with you in a minute. So awesome. It's cool. I've seen the little kids around here too. So. All right, next on the list is public comment on agenda items only. Any public comment? Seen, hearing none. We'll move forward. Consent agenda. We have expenditures in the amount of $284,833.10. Is there any question on the bills? Seen, hearing none. I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner DeShane.
Support.
I heard Commissioner Chase first. That's my better ear. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Awesome. All right. First is Resolution 25-763. This is to amend the City of Walker fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. Is there any? We had a presentation from our city treasurer or updates. The whole meeting. Is there any question on said resolution? Seeing, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please, to approve Resolution 25-763.
So moved.
Commissioner
Support.
Gross, Commissioner Babcock, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Awesome, right, thank you. Next is Resolution 25-764. This is a request from the Knights Wrestling Club for a charitable gaming license. I believe we have Colleen McComb in the audience. If we have any questions for her, this has been traditional. We don't grant the license per se as we do all for a local show support resolution for this. That's the requirement from the state of Michigan and the charitable gaming division that you have to do that. So Ms. McComb is actually here in presence if you have any questions for her. But basically it's recognizing, we saw board minutes in the back, some financial information, what have you, and this is being used, if I believe, as fundraisers for the wrestling program up there. Okay. Commissioners, any questions for Ms. McComb or on the topic? Seeing, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner DeShane, Commissioner Burke. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Resolution 25-764 is passed. We promised you it'd be easy, so very good. Thanks for getting all that packet information together. That helped out a lot. So, All right, any other public comment on agenda or non-agenda items? All right, let's start with Commissioner and Manager comments. Madam Clerk, I'll turn to you.
The new precinct boundary lines are now in effect. I believe I sent an email to everybody. I hope you all got it. ID cards are going to be mailed out this week. We just finalized the proofs for those ID cards to go out. All the information can be found on the city's website at walker.city/precincts. And then I just ask any questions or comments, just forward them to our office. We can handle them.
Awesome, thank you. Commissioner Babcock? Commissioner Groders? Commissioner Chase? Commissioner Shane? Commissioner Burke?
We have the morning bell ribbon cutting tomorrow morning.
Yes,
Reminder.
coming to that in just a second, yes.
7 a.m.
a.m. I'm sure there'll be food there, so come to that one in a minute. All right, thank you. Commissioner DeShane? No. Commissioner Burke?
I'll already be on a plane by 7 a.m. tomorrow, so I won't be there.
Okay. Can I have your cinnamon roll?
Yes.
Okay, all right, fair. Okay.
We had a very, very tricky ZBA last week of a developer coming to ask for a variance on property on Panel Street. A lot of public were here, basically a packed house, a lot of folks against it. Some of their comments from the neighborhood were, comments you really can't do much about. Not in my backyard. Arguments aren't very persuasive, but there were a number of other things that were very important to at least most of us on the ZBA. We voted it down 4-2, one abstention. They basically wanted, they had gone to planning sent them to mineral mining sent them to us because they needed a variance against the mineral mining requirements to mine a bunch of soil from this property, like 300,000 cubic yards of soil, 30,000 truckloads of soil to take out. Which in and of itself isn't necessarily a big deal, but the city mining ordinance, which is, the city engineer says is very good, and his long experience is very, very useful. It requires you to have a 500-foot offset from all residential areas that neighbor the property. Well, the developer asked for 75 feet, so not even close to the requirement. The requirement for a mineral mine is 20 acres. This is 12 acres, so nearly half the. So it wasn't really a request for a variance in my view. It was a request for us to ignore the mineral mining ordinance. Yet on the board, which surprised me, I thought it was a slam dunk no, but we did get it disapproved. If you drive by that property now, you'll see that they had already been planning on, I guess, getting approval because they took down they denuded a hill basically of trees and have already started taking out soil, which you can take out some soil. So I don't know if they've actually violated any current provisions of what they're allowed to do. They do own the property. It is their property. Another complexity to it was 2/3 of the property is zoned industrial, 1/3 is zoned SA residential. So eventually, if they had gotten approval, all of this would come to us at City Commission, and we'd say no. At least in my opinion, we would. Because we would not, particularly with the full House of Constituents, would not be happy with telling them, no, we're going to give them a waiver, and you only have 75 feet of offset, and you're going to be looking at trucks for the next 5 to 10 years coming out of this property. The noise and the backing up and all that stuff. On panel.
On panel.
Right. And right behind all these houses in the Alpine Estates neighborhood. So we said a hard no, and hopefully that will be the end of it. But the property is still a problem. They still have a right to develop it. We do eventually need to try and find a way to make something useful out of it. But that wasn't the right thing. Thanks.
Well, I think to that ZBA, that's just seeing the consistency. I'm glad, we had, for the commission's benefit, I don't know that both alternates were there. I know one was for sure. And he had a vote to step in, so that's why we've added the 2 alternates, and the other one just got approved Monday night. So I had shared with our planning director that I didn't feel like he'd be up to speed in time to make a binding legal decision on Wednesday night. So it was rather, unless we absolutely had to, and we didn't. But really, that ZBA's job is to say no, and the applicant's job is to convince you to say yes. And it doesn't sound like that was within the scope, and you have your 4 criteria to measure to, and your job is to say no. They have to convince you to say yes, and they have to address those criteria, and it didn't didn't meet all those, so, so job well done to the ZBA there. I'm glad to see all the backsides and the seats up here representing of the city, so that's a good thing, so. Right, Assistant City Manager? To our City Manager.
Two things. Next meeting, as I mentioned, the budget on June, whatever that is, 8th or 9th? 9th meeting, we'll have the public hearing and adoption, and I know there's be a couple people absent, so hopefully the rest of you can be here. And again, thanks for the action on the amendments tonight. And again, job well done to our Finance Director for keeping us on track there and keeping things really nicely in order. Memorial Day Parade obviously is Monday, and then this morning they sprayed for gypsy moths. We're down to really 2 small areas in the city since we've been doing the program 10, 12 years every year, so the population is really shrinking. There's a small area up in Alpine Estates area, and then a small part down by Riverbend near Elena's house, but they were done by 10 o'clock this morning with the flying with the helicopter, so hopefully that continues to do well, and that's it.
All right, thank you. Couple of quick things. As Commissioner Chase mentioned, tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, we have the ribbon cutting at Morning Bell for those able to join us. If not, we'll have your breakfast for you. Then also on Wednesday, there is one at 11 a.m. that I believe everybody has an invite to. It was 2M Financial on Kinney Street, just south of Lake Michigan, north of Lake Michigan Drive, sorry. And then there should be also one that you have for the 30th at 11:30 a.m. for Leave Wellness up on Alpine, right around the 3 Mile area there. If you don't have those, either let myself or Emily know, and we'll make sure you have the invite for it. City Manager had mentioned both Commissioner Babcock and I will be gone on June 9th. And the last thing I had, and I can be nice to him because he's not in the room, is, we were all trying to communicate last week. I was out of the country during the inclement weather coming in, and it was looking like it was going to be a lot worse than it ended up being. And there's obviously processes and protocols. We have to follow through all that, and just continue to be reminded how blessed we are with the leadership we have within the city. Police, fire, public works, and managed to navigate through everything we did. And it's that time of year in the city of Walker. We dodged another one, so in a good way. But I just shout out to police, fire, public works, and city staff as well. Everybody was ready. I know our city engineer, I think, was out here later that night. Why, I don't know yet. Checking on the library and the walls and making sure everything was good. And but that's everybody cares around here. So hats off to everybody. Just done a job well done. If there's nothing else for business this evening, I'll entertain a motion for approval to adjourn, please.
I'll make a motion.
Support.
Deshane, Commissioner Chase, and support. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. We stand adjourned.